Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney, and today is Wednesday, May 5th, also known as Cinco de Mayo. Thanks for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. And as you celebrate Cinco de Mayo today, happy Cinco de Mayo. A little piece of trivia for you. A lot of people think that Cinco de Mayo is Mexican Independence Day, but it is not. What we are celebrating today is the day of the Mexican Army's victory over France at the Battle of Puebla, and that was during the Franco-Mexican War that was on May 5th, 1862. So while you are enjoying your Mexican culture, it's not Mexican Independence Day. That is September 16th. So carry on and enjoy your day. Now let's get back to what's happening here in Northeast Ohio. We have election results in from yesterday. It was a primary and a special election here in Northeast Ohio. We saw mixed results for school levies in Northeast Ohio. Now, this is an off-year election, big races like the one for the mayor of Cleveland and who will replace the seat in Congress for Marcia Fudge, who is now the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Those will happen later. But we did get results from a lot of local races, and what we did see was that voters' opinions were mixed. While places like Brunswick and Louisville were able to pass new levies, Parma and Ashtabula levies failed. Now, most renewal levies did pass, but 2 in Clearview and Monroeville did not. For that full breakdown, head to WKYC.com. Something else to be aware of coming this weekend, there's an out-of-control rocket that is expected to plunge back to Earth this weekend. The U.S. Department of Defense's Space Command says it is aware and tracking the location of a Chinese rocket that's out of control and is expected to re-enter Earth's atmosphere sometime this weekend. In a statement, the U.S. Space Command said the Chinese Long March 5B exact entry point cannot be pinpointed until within hours of its re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere, but it's expected around May 8th, that's Saturday, and the agency said it'll give updates when it does know more information, and you can track that at space-track.org. Now, aerospace.org is also tracking the rocket, and by its estimation, it could re-enter the atmosphere very early Sunday, so basically Saturday night, but they're looking at about 12:37 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Don't be worried, though. Jonathan McDowell, who is an astrophysicist at the Astrophysics Center at Harvard University, told CNN, "We don't have anything to worry about." He said the risk that there would be some damage or that it would hit someone is pretty small. He said it's not negligible. It could happen, but the risk that it will hit you is, quote, incredibly tiny. And he said he would not lose 1 second of sleep over whether this is a personal threat. That's good news because we would hate to see it land here in Cleveland when we are about to have the reopening of the Porco Lounge and Tiki Room in Cleveland's Ohio City. Our Doug Trattner had a first look at that, and we do know now that it's expected to reopen in the middle of May. Now, owner Stephen Wass said that the guiding light for them has always been the numbers, and because cases are down and vaccinations are up, they are looking forward to good weather and taking advantage of that. Now, they said they chose not to reopen when they could have previously done so just under the Ohio Department of Health guidelines because it just wouldn't have been possible to have an experience that was in line with those guidelines in the Porco Lounge and Tiki Room. Now, when it does reopen, there will be some differences. Reservations will be strongly recommended because the number of seats has been reduced in order to keep that safe environment. So, he says this, "Do not expect to stroll up on a weekend night and grab a seat." Now, it's been a long time since I have been in Porco's, but I do know it was always very packed before. So there'll be a little more elbow room in Porco's, but don't expect to just pop up there. You are going to need a reservation. Speaking of things that have happened during the pandemic, one Newton Falls woman has lost 95 pounds during the pandemic. Shelly Tessian, she said she was living an amazing life except for one thing. She has always struggled with her weight her entire life, and when she was younger, she would lose weight, gain it right back. So this was all about a lifestyle change for her, and she says the pandemic really helped her reach this goal because she was working at home. She was in charge of her own diet. She wasn't going out and socializing and didn't have those outside distractions. She lost 19 pounds in the first 3 weeks of the pandemic and a total of 95 pounds after changing her eating habits. She did exercise, but she says that nutrition was the main factor. No sugar, no dairy, nothing artificial. So she was eating proteins, vegetables, apples, oranges, and berries. That sounds like a pretty tasty nutrition plan there. And her goal overall is to lose 100 pounds and then to start to build muscle. She says she looks at some pictures of herself. She can't even believe it was her. Congratulations to Shelly on that. Quite an accomplishment there. And she seems to be very happy with the changes that she has made in her life. Now let's take a look at the latest numbers for COVID-19. These global numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. There have now been a total of 154,534,328 reported COVID-19 cases, and the total number of deaths globally is now at 3,232,378. Here in the U.S., also from Johns Hopkins University, we've seen 35,527,295 cases. Now, we've been watching the percentage of cases here in the U.S. of the global picture go down, but today we see a big jump back up. That number represents 23% of the global cases. That's a jump up of almost 2 percentage points. So we've been watching that slowly chip away, 1/10 of a percentage point almost every day, but back up almost 2 full percentage points today. And the total number of deaths in the U.S. now at 578,925. That number represents 17.9% of the global COVID-19 deaths. That is down 1/10 of a percentage point from yesterday, which is in line with what we've been seeing with that number. Now we have the latest numbers from the Ohio Department of Health as well. In the last 24 hours, we've seen 1,450 new reported cases of COVID-19. That is up from what we saw yesterday. The total number of people who are in the hospital right now is 1,134. We've seen 145 new hospitalizations in the last day. Out of those more than 1,100 people in the hospital, 311 of them are being treated in an intensive care unit. We've seen 18 new ICU admissions in the last day. Taking a look at the vaccination picture, close to 34% of Ohioans are now fully vaccinated. That's more than 3.9 million Ohioans, and close to 48,000 people have reached that threshold. That's in the last day. And close to 41% of Ohioans have now started the vaccination process. That's close to 4.8 million Ohioans and more than 21,000 in the last day. As we look at those numbers, we've now heard that the new guidance from the President Joe Biden administration is that they hope to have 70% of Americans vaccinated by the 4th of July. Now, as people do get vaccinated and things open up and people get comfortable with spending time with their family again, one thing you might be thinking about is Mother's Day, which is coming on Sunday, and maybe your mom likes baked goods. If so, we have a roundup of the 10 best bakeries in Northeast Ohio. It's part of our Save Our Sauce feature. That's also by our food contributor, Doug Trattner. Here's just 2 of them that are on that list of recommendations. Presti's Bakery in Little Italy. It's been there for more than 100 years. It's a very celebrated corner bakery. They have fresh baked breads, pastries, and cakes, and they've even expanded over the years to include salads, pizza, stromboli, and other specials. And another one on the other side of the spectrum. This is the newest bakery in Tremont. It's called Leavened in Tremont, and it's in a very sleek residential building on Scranton called the Tappan. This is a contemporary European-style artisan bakery. Lots of rustic different breads and scones. They've got pastries like pain au chocolat, cinnamon buns, and classic chocolate chip cookies. They also have something called Duck Rabbit Coffee. Very interesting to check that out. Maybe your mom wants to try something new. Maybe she wants to try some Duck Rabbit coffee. We've got those recommendations and more up on wkyc.com/saveoursauce. And if your mom likes going to the movies, this might be of interest to you. Regal Cinemas will be reopening its Willoughby and Crocker Park locations on Friday. We've got the full list of reopenings planned. This will be the first time that they'll be welcoming back movie viewers in 14 months. It has been a long time and they are ready for it. Now, there are more reopenings planned for May 14th and May 21st. Check out that full list on wkyc.com. And we are going to talk a little bit of sports to close things out today. You might have seen those speculations online that maybe the Cleveland Browns might be interested in Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback because he reportedly has demanded a trade out of Green Bay. Well, even this morning, ESPN's Max Kellerman said that, yeah, if that happened, the Browns, in his view, would be a Super Bowl favorite over the Bucs and the Chiefs for Super Bowl 56. Maybe that sounds good in the short term, but our 3 News sports analyst, Ben Axelrod, kind of broke down why it really just doesn't make any sense. He says the mechanics of it just don't line up with what's been happening here in Cleveland. You know, we recently saw the release of defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson. That's the Browns subtracting salary, not adding to it. Aaron Rodgers' base salary for 2021 is $14.7 million, and Baker Mayfield's base salary is $920,000. So that would be a big difference, and it would require Browns general manager Andrew Berry to drastically restructure the roster that he has spent the last 2 years meticulously building. I love how Ben puts that. Those are Ben's words there. Perfect example of why this just doesn't make sense here in Cleveland. So going from Mayfield to Rodgers might seem great on paper. Maybe. I would argue that's debatable too. I don't think Ben is necessarily making that point either. But it would cost the Browns a lot in the long term. And also, I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers has been in the league for a long time. Baker Mayfield is up and coming. Let's not be the old Browns. Let's think long term here. Sure, I would be happy to cheer for the Browns on the way to a Super Bowl, a likely Super Bowl. But I'd also like to cheer for a winning team for a long time in the future. And I don't think that we want to give up Baker Mayfield. I'm just saying. All right, now let's turn our attention to the Tribe. In Major League Baseball, umpire Angel Hernandez admits that he missed a call. He guessed on a call in last night's game between the Tribe and the Royals. He said he was blinded by the scoreboard. He thought that the Tribe caught the ball when in fact they didn't, and then it ended up advancing a runner on a base for the Royals because he just couldn't see what happened, so he had to make a guess. I mean, I guess what are you going to do in that scenario? Are you going to wear sunglasses? Maybe? I don't know. A visor? You got to figure something out, but I guess these things do happen. Don't want to see it go not our way, but the Tribe did win anyway, but oof, not a great moment for that umpire to have to admit that. Now let's take a look at the basketball picture. Yes, the Cavs did sign Anderson Varejao to a 10-day contract. He is back here. He didn't play last night, but maybe tonight against the Portland Trailblazers. You know, that team that he was on for a hot second before he got shipped off to the Golden State Warriors and then had to watch the Cavs beat Golden State in the 2016 NBA Finals after he had been on the Cavs that season. Fun fact here, because he had played for the Cavs that season, he did get offered an NBA championship ring, but he turned it down because he said he didn't feel right about it since he was on the opposite bench during the finals. Real class act there. But maybe we'll see him tonight against that team, the Portland Trailblazers. We got 7 games left in this NBA season. We'll see what they do with Varejao. A lot of people still scratching their heads about why this move was made, and maybe time will tell over the next 2 weeks here in Cleveland. All right, that's it for your 3 News Now update for Wednesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. I'll see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in Clicking in Cleveland, and then I'll see you back here tomorrow for more 3 News Now. Between now and then, everyone stay safe and be well. I'm Stephanie Haney.